Hey you guys, it's your boy, who's not a boy, it's Hydrofake here. Great to see you guys again. I am playing Blox Party and I'm recording this afterwards, so it's not going to match up. Please don't be confused. And today I wanted to talk about something that I think is important. I think it's something that all of us should discuss at some point. And I think that it's a topic that we need to be open about and coherent about with ourselves and with the people around us. And just as a disclaimer, so there's no misunderstanding here, I am a Christian, and so obviously many of the things that I have to say about this topic are going to reflect my beliefs. But I hope that you will take the time to listen to what I have to say, even if you disagree with me. I want you to ask yourself a question. Why are you valuable? Like, genuinely ask yourself that question. What do you have to offer? Maybe you offer knowledge, kindness, hard work, money, whatever, right? But whatever you think you offer that gives you value, just think about it. Why are you important? In other words, why should we care about you in a world of 7.5 billion people? Now, many of you could probably think of a few things that make you valuable. But let me ask you this. What would happen if those things went away? What would happen to your value? And now let me ask you this. Do you depend on those traits or those things to give you value? Whatever they may be. Like I said before, whether it be kindness, intelligence, strength. What would your value be without them? And that's not to say that these traits aren't necessarily good. Like, for example, the ones I just listed, these are good traits to have, and I would say that they are valuable. But what happens if tomorrow, if we enter into a society that values evil, ignorance, and weakness? Are you going to be viewed the same way that you were today? Or are you not going to be important anymore? Here's another fun question. Are you insecure about your value? Do you do things to make people happy, to gain acceptance? Do you do the right thing because you feel like you have to? Well, unfortunately, if you answered yes to any of these questions, I can actually clarify that I know exactly how you feel. And I can also pretty safely say that I know that there are many people who feel the exact same way. And I want to propose a radical idea that you might not believe at first. But hear me out just this once. Your value is not based on anything you can provide. I have more bad news for you. Your value, my value, your neighbor, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your teacher, your dog, I don't know, man. Your values based on their abilities, it's basically nothing. Because guess what? Somebody will always be better. Somebody will always be stronger, more superior, smarter, and ultimately, we are mortals, capable of being broken, which means that our value, based on what we're able to do, is on a balancing beam anyways. At any second, you could fall off and then you're done. But see, here's the thing that I know everybody who's watching this also knows. That even if those things are true, that your value can diminish on the basis of what you can do if you are no longer able to do them. Even if that is true, that does not mean that people do not have value. And you're correct. But the question still remains, if your value does not come from your physical abilities or anything that we can provide, then where does it come from? I mean, I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that we all agree that murder, the act of killing somebody with a malicious intent, not in self-defense, is wrong. Which means that the person who is a victim of murder has value. But why? Why do we have value? The answer is surprisingly simple. It's because of Jesus. Think about this. About 2,000 years ago, God came in the flesh, and for about 3 years, he had a ministry, which included but was not limited to healing the sick, raising the dead, performing miracles, and giving teachings on many, many things that I'm sure weren't even written about. Jesus spent a lot of his time not only doing these wonderful things, but also teaching us about what is essential in life. Eventually, because of jealousy and spite from religious leaders at the time, Jesus was tried and persecuted and then executed on a cross on top of Mount Calvary and then died there. 3 days later, he rose from his grave and made himself known to the many people around him, and in doing so conquering the prison that we are all stuck in known as sin. Now, why do I bring this up in a conversation about value? Because the life and the death of Jesus, in a sense, if it is true that he did those things, proves that he is God. He is God in the flesh. And if Jesus is God, then that means that God has a lot of things to say about your values specifically. For example, in chapter 10 of Matthew, Jesus is talking to his disciples. And between verses 28 through 31, Jesus says this: "Fear not them which can kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul. Rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Yeesh. Are not 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and not one of them shall fall on the ground without your Father? But the very hairs on your head are all numbered. Fear ye not, therefore, for ye are of more value than sparrows." Now, if you didn't catch it, I'll try and paraphrase so you can understand. Jesus is saying right now that even the sparrows, these tiny little birds, which, by the way, according to this verse at the time, were being sold for a farthing. 2 of them sold for a farthing, which is the equivalent in America of a quarter of a penny. God is saying that these tiny birds have value in his eyes. And now imagine this. Biblically speaking, we're more valuable than sparrows because we're created in the image of God. So imagine how much more value you, as an individual, must have. If even God watches the sparrows and cares about these little birds, he's counted the hairs on your head. Like, that should say enough. That should say enough. He doesn't have to do that. How many people have been alive? Like at least 7. At least 7 people have been alive, and that's a lot of hair. And you know what? If you're skeptical about it, these aren't my words. These are the words of Jesus. If you have issue with it, you can take it up with him. But okay, cool. What's the real world application then? The real world application is this. You are going to fail a lot in this lifetime. You might feel like you're failing a lot right now in your life. And wherever you are emotionally, physically, or spiritually, you need to know one thing. That God loves you. And his love doesn't go away when we fail. It has no conditions. His love stays with us because he is more faithful than we are, if I'm being honest with you. I mean, think about it. As soon as he does something that we don't like, I was like, oh, I'm just going to ditch you. I'm going to go do whatever. But he can literally watch us take his name and use it as a cuss word, or lie, or steal, or whatever, right? And he will still love us. And I'm sorry, but that just kind of blows my mind when you really think about it. I mean, like, I take it for granted the fact that God, the creator of the universe, the conqueror of sin and death, finds value in me and finds value in you. And guess what? You're not valuable because you do good things, or because you're smart, or you're pretty, or you're wealthy, or whatever. He doesn't care. He's not a respecter of persons. You are valuable and you are loved by God because he's just that awesome. And you know what that means? Your value doesn't go away because you're disabled, or because you're in poverty, or because you get an ugly scar on your face, or whatever. You have value because the creator of the universe said so, and that's pretty intense. So, what does that mean we should do? It means we need to live our life like we have value. God created you for a purpose. You have value in your life. And maybe you don't know what that means right now, and that's okay. Everything is in his timing anyway. But we don't need to kiss up to people. We don't need to pretend to be something that we are not to make people happy. We also don't need to do that to make God happy, because guess what? It doesn't make him happy. It makes him kind of upset that you're being a faker. I'm just going to call you out. If you're doing that, you're being a faker. And you know what? I love you, but you got to stop that for your own sake, if anything. And because guess what? God has a plan for your life. There is something wonderful that he has a plan for you, something amazing. And you don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But guess what? You're not even going to get started walking down that path if you keep on covering up what condition you're in. I mean, I'm just being serious. Tell him the truth about how you feel. about what you are doing, how you are doing. Bring your concerns to him. He can take it. He can take all your quirks, all your flaws, whatever. He is no baby. Trust me on that one. And if you don't believe me, just go back and read the book of Jonah. Man, that guy got on my nerves. But anyway, if you're going to take anything away from this, I hope it will be this. The Lord loves you, and he wants you to succeed. But we got to go to him before we can do anything. And if you don't even know where to start, the best place, of course, would be at the Bible. Because that's the Word of God. I like to think that Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth. But that's just for me. And here's the thing, too. You might feel like garbage again after this. If you're feeling really good right now, you might feel like garbage again after this. In a few days, you might look back on this video and you might think, oh my goodness, that person was a liar. They lied to me. But hey, don't take my word for it. Your value is in the one who will always maintain it. Not in you, not in your government, your parents, or even your religion. Because guess what? God doesn't care about your religion. He cares about you. He cares about you individually. And guess what? No man can ever change that. But I think that's all I have to say, because I'm obviously no teacher, so whatever. I really hope you guys take this at least with a grain of salt, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.